Hi, it's Stacy. And Stacy and Mendy was so steady. She just dropped my chair.
She said I was short.
I'll slouch.
Okay.
We are back for another fun and exciting Thursday of the Ranges.
Yeah.
We're doing the Ranges Quilt by Leonie West, including her new Tecoma series of templates.
Mhm.
And last week we you did, and I kind of helped, block 1 and 2 in the Ranges Quilt. Now, how many blocks are there?
We're going to do 25.
25 in all, not all of them today. We actually are going to try to do 2 a week over the next several weeks, basically 2 a week through May.
Yeah, and we decided to change it up a little bit. The fabric that I was working on last week did not show well because I used the same color thread. So just like when I did the mystery quilt, I'm going to do my practice quilting on this fabric, and then I'm going to actually quilt on the company fabric with contrasting thread.
And we call it the company fabric. What we actually have some really exciting stuff to share this week.
Yeah.
Well, I think we shared it last week too, but it's our new fabric kind of pre-cuts. And so those are available to all of you now. We actually sent those into events for, the last several years. We would go in and do all these events, and we wanted everybody to have pre-cut fabric, easy to use, with everything they needed to enjoy a ruler work class. Well, there haven't been in-store events, so we have all these pre-cuts that we decided, let's start getting them out to people at home, because they're doing these classes at home now. So we'll post a link to that information.
Well, and they're cut the perfect size to work with the 12-inch templates. So on the yellow fabric, I'm using the 18-inch Tecoma templates to finish that. But on the new ones, let's show them both.
Yeah, let's show them both.
So this is block 1.
So this is block 1 with the 12-inch and block 1 with the 18-inch. So you can see how she completed both of them. I absolutely love both of them. I think that the contrast is stunning on both of the designs. And so that was block 1. And then let's show them block 2.
Yeah.
And so we don't take the time during this class to cut out everything with you.
I'll show you a little bit, to help you understand. But it's slow, meticulous work.
But it's kind of fun. It's TV too.
I will tell you, I've really enjoyed it. But it's not something that you want to be mindlessly doing, because a lot of in fact, this particular pattern that we're going to show you next was, if you watch the mystery quilt, I'm a very visual person. And this one was a little mind-boggling for me. So here's the 2.
So this is
one.
This again
is block 2.
And this is block 2, 12-inch size right here, and then the 18-inch size right there. And so someone was making some comments. I was reading some of the comments from the posts in the class last week, and one thing that someone asked is, why would you need a template fuse or a fusible if you're cutting away what they thought was the bottom layer? But no, you're layering and you're cutting the top layer to reveal the layer below it.
Yeah.
So then you want to secure your top layer to the row below it, and that's how you're able to go ahead and make it that easy.
So you know what I think I should do is go to the other table, and I'd like to start at the basics, because
the layers.
I think there was some disconnect last week.
I did too. And then we are going to be announcing a giveaway today. And it's tied to this because this is a lot of template work. And we just rolled out that amazing new fusible called Template Fuse. And so we decided that we want to give away a roll of Template Fuse today.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to be a prize that we're going to be doing in a separate post. So we'll encourage y'all to go out to our Facebook page maybe after the class today and like, comment, and share on that separate post for an opportunity to win a roll of the Template Fuse. So you can try it out yourself. But we're very excited about that. We've heard nothing but great things from our educators on it. So let's go ahead and head over to the marking and kind of prep table with Mendy, and she's going to show us all about her layers.
Okay, so the prep for doing the template, it's just like a regular quilt sandwich. You start with your back, you've got your batting. Here's where the difference comes in. This is going to be the secondary layer, so this is what I'm cutting to. And I think you can see that this is shiny on the back. I've already cut and ironed on all the fusible. But the big thing here is you do not want to ever touch this with an iron until you've completely done the rest of your cutting, okay? Because it will fuse everything together. And I can kind of show you that right here. So this is now one, and that's the way we want it to be. So if you make a mistake and get your iron on there, I can tell you that with a lot of light touch and patience, you can get it pulled apart. I had to.
Oh, really? Oh, she's tried it, ladies.
Yeah, but not recommended. So, okay, let's go ahead, and this is going to be the one that we're doing today. This is block number 3, and it's called Gum Blossom. We're going to be using the Tecoma T1 and T2, and it really is going to be the same pattern that we're doing, only we're going to use the templates both on the right side and the wrong side to make the circles all the way around. Now we're going to go ahead and mark our block here, and this is going to be cut down, so I don't have to be exact, but we're going to make 24 reference lines on this. This is a 6-point crosshair square, and so we're going to be making a rotation 4 different times with this, and I'll show you an easy way to do it here. So you'll notice that I started with the 2 bottom kind of sticking out, the arms and legs, I'll call them, up here. And then we have 3 lines here. So what I'm going to do is just rotate this. And what I also want to do is I want to mark my center, because my Choco marker won't go into the center of that little hole there. So give me a second to mark my center. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to put that white line on the marking that I already did. And I'm going to make sure I'm in the center there. Okay, now we're ready for our secondary marking. There. There. Okay, now we're going to make it another turn here. Make sure I'm in the center. And I'm making sure that these lines are on the chalk marks that I've already put on. That's how I know that I've got it set up properly. And I know they picked a winner for the 6-point crosshair square. So as soon as Stacy gets back, I bet we can announce that too. All right, and then we're going to do it the 4th and final time. Where's the center? Right there. Okay. Here we go. All right, now we're ready to go to the sewing machine. So give me a second and let me get Stacy in here to change the camera.
Okay, you are now at the sewing machine. Someone commented that they forgot to remove the paper backing before sewing their first row. I did too.
A little embarrassing.
We discovered it after everyone was off air the other day.
Well, I heard that the sewing machine making noises and it shouldn't.
Yes.
That was the first clue.
That's important to do, everyone.
Your fabric won't bond if you keep that on there.
I was gonna go ahead. I was able to pull up the fusible on the screen just to share with everybody the giveaway today. And again, that's our Template Fuse fusible. So it's a low melt paper backed fusible. I know you guys were doing a whole lot of fabric the other day, and so you brought out the heat press.
Yes.
Which was kind of cool. That made it a lot easier, but
A lot faster.
yeah. But you do use a medium dry heat to go ahead and fuse that on. And how long would you say you ironed each piece?
I would say it's, well, you have to do it in stages because your iron isn't big enough to get all of it at one time.
Sure.
But I would hold it down to a count of 1001 to 5.
So about 5 seconds
Uh-huh.
on all those zones. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. So now you remembered Tecoma. T1 is where we're going to start in the center, and T2 is where we go out to the end and come back. And I do remember that there was a lot of conversation about why couldn't you just use the one template over and over again. And you know, it's not that you couldn't, it's just that you're going to end up with a whole lot more either broken thread or stitching because you always have to get back to the center. So that's the problem. Okay, so what we're going to do is put the foot down, and we're going to bring our thread up. Bring our thread there. Okay. Put that foot back down now. And now we're just going to go around this to create that center circle. So let me get up here. There we go. Just going to move that around. So I'll turn it this way so we can actually see it. How about that? And there we go. Get back on my reference line right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this around. So I'm going to get my reference line right on my chalk mark. All right, let's go ahead and take that one off. Put T2 on here. Let me get it where I can see it. There we go. All right, now I'm going to want to get this one, not on that one, but right there. So it means I'm going to walk my template down. This one doesn't line up as perfect as the 18-inch does, so you will have to walk along the side, but these are all cut at a size that we're going to cut down anyway, so it won't matter. All right, let's go ahead and turn it this way so you guys can see better. How about that? And me too.
Did you use the 6 point or the 8 point?
6 point.
6 point today.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a question that came in on which what you use to mark your fabric.
It meaning the Choco marker,
Potentially, it was the Choco or the crosshair ruler. So
it was the 6 point. It's the 12-inch 6 point crosshair square that is going to be the most helpful with this particular project.
And that being said, we announced last week that we would have a winner for that. tool this week. And so check out the Facebook page because I believe we did pick a winner from the live last week and all of the comments and shares. So definitely want you to check that out as well.
All right, let's get this lined up so I know where I'm traveling to. So it's going to be right there. Carolyn's going to travel back to the circle, and then we're going to travel down to the next reference line. Okay. Now we're going to put one back on here. There we go. And now we're going to get that one on there. Here we go. Okay. Or P2 on here. Let's turn it so we can get on the reference line. Okay. So it's going to be this one right here. So now we're going to travel down here. Try to get that right there. Okay. Just going to travel over here again. Okay. Now we're going to do. So we're going to be doing this 48 times because we're not only doing it this way, we're going to be doing it the opposite way to make circles. Okay. I think Stacy was talking when I put the pin in the middle, but this is one of the templates of we have a thumbtack in the middle that is helping define center. So that's what we keep revolving around here. All right, here we go. lined up on our next reference line.
Someone said that the light bulb just came on and they're now seeing that the arcs are staggered because they weren't understanding why you were changing templates every time.
Yeah.
So think of a clamshell. This is like a clamshell design that's being done in a circular fashion. So in a clamshell design, you always have your arc staggered to create that traditional clamshell look.
Correct. All right, so once again, we're going to climb down here, and then we're going to try to fit this. And I will tell you that I did pick out some of these stitches that are on the outside, because when I cut this down on the smaller block, it did pick up some of my stitching that wasn't part of the design. And so I just simply picked it out, so it wasn't a distraction, because it didn't add to the design. It was just a means for me getting around the block. So we may encounter that again. In fact, I know we will, because it's the same template. The 18-inch is perfect for the block size. So the design ends before the block ends, and then that makes it so that you have a perfect design clear to the edge of the block. But with this one, it's not quite long enough. Okay, so these are 14 by 15 blocks, and we're going to cut this block down to 12 and a half. Okay.
So Susan asked, Mendy, as you're sewing and the fabric starts to draw in, do you adjust the template as you come slightly out of alignment?
You know, I haven't had a problem with out of alignment on this particular clamshell. With the other clamshells, I'm all constantly micro,
Yeah, you said that.
micro adjusting. But with the center holding here, I don't have the same problem that I typically do with a regular clamshell template.
So someone asked another question. I think I know the answer to this, but I also think it's worth almost showing them on that fabric. She asked, can you use the 18-inch templates on a 10-inch block?
You can, but I have staple tape clear out to the end in order for that to work on the large blocks. And you'll notice I have staple tape on both sides of these because we are going to be reversing them. So I'm going to have to do that here. And when this goes on the outside,
well, even like right now, you can't see it on the camera, but if I tilt the camera a little bit, you can. Go ahead and line it up like you would.
This is on the outside and it's catching on the machine.
Yeah, and it's not on the fabric.
It's not on. That's the problem. It's not on the fabric. Ooh,
what's happening here? An audio malfunction. So you just might struggle a little bit because the template's going to be hanging off the fabric, and you're not going to capture every clamshell. You know, you're only going to capture maybe the first 4. You're definitely not going to get the big one.
It would work. It works better going out than going in.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is the wrong one.
Oh,
Can you put that up?
You decided you were going to try to use that 18-inch after all.
No, I don't want to.
So she's currently on an M7 today. Last week she was on her Baby Lock Aria. Baby Lock Altair. And this week she's on her Janome M7. That's one of the perks of being in this industry and doing a lot of videos, is that we make friends with a lot of the brands, and we get to have the opportunity to sew on a lot of different machines.
it has been oops, that's the book, I think. Stays.
Yeah, I'll get that for you.
Because it also has the template on it.
Yep, you're ready for that one, aren't you?
I am.
Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
So the size of the block that she's doing today, she's actually using the fabric pre-cuts that we have available to all of you now as well in multiple colors. So I'm going to take you out to that here in a minute, and I'll show you those fabric pre-cuts. And you can kind of see a little bit more about the sizing. They're all 14 by 15 pre-cuts, so that's the size of fabric sandwich she's got today. She'll end up cutting it down, right?
Mm-hmm. To 12 and a half.
So this will end up being her 12 and a half inch blocks.
Here we go.
Someone asked, where's the best place to put the stable tape on the template?
It's going to be where your hands are holding it down because it's a pressure point, and you simply just don't want the template to be moving on you. Especially, for instance, as we're doing clamshells, the pattern is dependent upon it being in the right place for the design to look right. So I'm holding it at the two ends right now, but I also put it in the center because sometimes I'm not holding it at the end. I'm holding it in the middle. Depends on you know where I'm at in the process. I guess is the best way to say it. All right, so we're going to go this way slowly. There we go. All right. And here we go. Switch that out.
So while you're switching, I thought I would take them over to that pre-cut page real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I'm just going to kind of show you the different options that we have available. Right now you see the fabric that Mendy's actually sewing on. That's that navy color that I think just works amazing with all of the colors in the range. There's also a navy wave that's kind of, we complemented them together as like a package. And you'll see every one of our basics comes with a wave that coordinates with it. We have the orange, the pink wave. Every single one of the basic pieces is $2.30, and every single one of the piece of batting, again because we're helping you build your own quilt sandwich, is $1.10. So you're just kind of welcome to just go through and build your own fabric sandwiches that way. So the rulers that we're using here today are called the Tecoma Templates, and that's part of a new template set that Leonie rolled out just this last fall. And what you're seeing is really just two templates being used repeatedly. And that's the 12-inch Tacoma set. And there's also a 18-inch Tacoma set that's available, but this is the smaller size. So this is the 12-inch. Someone asked, is there a reason why you're going anti-clockwise?
On the 18-inch, I found that when I went this direction, the template matched up perfectly on the reference line when I was done at the outside edge. With this one, it doesn't, because this wasn't designed for the 12-inch. It was cut down for the 12-inch. So in this particular case, I could have gone either direction, but I've gotten used to going this direction, so that's what I did. And it really doesn't matter. The outcome's going to be the same. It doesn't matter which direction you go. Just like all other ruler work, you know, if it's in a circle, it doesn't matter if it's counterclockwise or clockwise. It's what's comfortable for you. And I am married to a left-handed man, so I can attest that that is different for lefties. And just so you know, Leonie's a left-handed person. So a lot of times her directions seem different to me. But I do think it's the left brain, right brain kind of thing. It's just whatever you're used to.
Well, and the templates do work in both directions.
They do.
Mm-hmm. It's just whatever you find easier to work with. Someone asked if it matters what line you start on.
It does, because there are 3 sets of lines here. So my guess is later in the series, we're going to probably work with a different line. But right now, we're focused on the line on the template that has the arrows, which is the bottom line. So if I focused on one that was farther down, your design wouldn't be touching, okay? So yes, it does matter. But I've always said, as with all of the Westerly templates, Leonie is an extraordinary mathematical mind. And as long as you consistently use the same marking on her templates, your design will come out perfect. Okay, we're closing in on the first round here. Okay, let's go ahead and switch to this one. And we're going to get it right there.
Oh, let me go back. Where are we matching it to? Oh, it's the last one. Well, is it the last one? Or is there 2 more?
No, we've got this one and then the T2.
And
so we're going to come back and then we'll be done. So here we go with this one, second to last. Not actually second to last. We're halfway there.
On just this design?
Yep. We're making circles. So right now we're just making half circles. All right, now we're going to be done. And Stace, maybe you could find me some stable tape, because I'm going to have to
Oh, okay.
get that on here. Okay, so here we go. So now we're touching the bottom with the first stitch that we did, and we're going to touch the one that we just did. So that's going to complete the design here. All right, now we're going to come back in here. And then we're going to work our way to that reference line. And because I'm using chalk, my reference lines are getting fainter and fainter. But the good news is, oh, I think I've got some in here. Yeah, I can get the drawer open. Okay. All right, now because we've got to flip this, I have to put staple tape on the right side of this template. So give me just a second to get that done. Sorry.
And then you're going to show us that perfect placement of the staple tape.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just mirror what I did on the right side, I'll call it, because there's not a right and a wrong side. It's just the front side. Okay. Put it right there. I try not to put it over markings that I'm going to want to use while I'm making the design. I've made that mistake before and it's very unfortunate. Okay, so here's the other one that we're going to do.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to take everybody back over to our website. And I want to do a couple things. First, I wanted to show you our Find a Retailer page, and it's the very top. And as you scroll down, you're going to see this awesome map. So while you can type in your zip code and address, you can also just use this hand grabber and find your country. So as you can see, we do have a few in Europe that you can choose from. And so you can go ahead and try to make it a little bit bigger. And we do have a Denmark location here, as well as a few in the UK to choose from. So I would recommend starting with that if you can, when you're looking for your options for purchasing in the UK or Europe. As far as a search feature, someone just asked us that question too. And as you can see, you can type in the product name in our search bar right here at the top of the page. And if you just type in that product name and then scroll down, sometimes I'd say less is more. It's better to type in less words than more words, because if you try to get too precise, it won't pull up much. So I just typed in the Tecoma, and you can see we pulled up our Tecoma template set here, which we're working with today.
Stace, we're at a place that I'd like them to see before I start sewing.
I just moved back over to the screen. You're set.
Perfect. Okay, so we're back to my very first line that I stitched. And I did that just by going to the circle and moving to the next reference line. So now I actually have the template going the opposite direction. And I know that I'm correct because I can see my stitch lines coming in at the valley of each of these clamshells. And I'm on my reference line. As faint as it is, I can still see it. So here we go. And okay, move some of this stuff here. We'll bring this around and change it over here. Everything going this way now. And I know that I've got it correct because I can't read any of the writing. And I know that I have it because the little stitch lines are coming up through the valley of the template. Okay. And we're going to do this one. There we are. And I think that's, no, it's going to be up here. Let's see here. I might have gone to the, yeah, I went to the wrong reference line. Here we go. Let's go back. There we go. That's the right reference line. Okay, now we're good. There's a lot of stitch lines here, so I do double check myself because it is, those reference lines are very close at that inner circle, and it is easy to not be on the right one. Okay, now I'm going to switch this out, put this one in, but you can start seeing the circles coming to play here. Okay, so now we're going to take that there, and we're going to come down here. Yeah. Okay, so let's put this on, and my next one is going to be right there, and that's my reference line right there. So I need to come down, yeah. Okay, let's swap out this.
Someone asked, how do you figure out if you're on the wrong stitching line?
Whenever I go to get on my reference line, if it's not, for instance, like right now, I know that I need to be right here because these lines are coming up in between to make the finish of the circle. So that's how I'm really telling, because there are a lot of stitch lines right now.
There's a lot going on there, Mom.
Okay, I'll trim it this way. Maybe you can see better then. Okay, now we're going to come up. And like I said, my chalk is so faint right now that it's making it extra fun. Okay, so now we're going to come right up here to that line. Put this one back on. But I do literally double check myself every time because it's easy to get on the wrong one. Okay, now let's bring it over here where I can see it. And I know I want to be right there because all these circles are finished and that one isn't. Okay, so let's come on down here. Okay, I think that's right. Let's double check it though. Okay, so there we are. Here's my circles, and I am on the right place. Hmm. And I do think it would help if I cut this down before I started quilting to probably the 14 by 14, because I do have one side that is longer than the other.
Oh, so when you're bringing it in, it feels weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I noticed that. Someone asked, why do you need two rulers when it's just a half circle that's the same size?
Because they're offset.
So because technically this ruler has a start point and an end point. And the start point really is determined by the pinhole, because this is pivoting on a pinhole. So you can't just repeat using the same pinhole every time. Now, had there been a secondary pinhole, maybe? I don't know.
I'm gonna have to take a minute. I've got some. The thread is starting to.
I don't think the secondary pinhole would have worked either, because then you wouldn't be pivoting correctly. So, again, that goes back to the math genius thing that Leonie has, because I'm sure she went through the whole process and realized she needed two rulers to do it. But it is pretty amazing. They're loving the orange peel design. So
the
while
orange peel design.
Yeah, that's what they see on the fabric right now.
Okay.
So while you're doing that, I pulled them over to the Tecoma series.
All right.
And I just thought I would kind of show you the finished quilt here. So it looks like today we are doing, I think it's this block design.
We're doing number 3 right now.
Yeah, but in the quilt it looks a little different. Like the way they laid it out on the Ranges Quilt.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I believe we're doing that block design today, which you can kind of see I've highlighted it there. And then last week we did, this was the number 1 block, which you see right there. And the number 2 block, I think, was this one. Yeah. So you can see that we're going to end up doing all of these designs, and they're all really quite intricate. And at first I thought, are we going to actually stitch it all out the same way and then just cut it out a whole bunch of different ways? But there is a lot of different stitching techniques being used here as well for creating the designs to cut away. So we're going to see a lot of different options during this project. And so it'll be fun to do this together and kind of see how it all comes out. So you are still fixing your fabric there?
No,
thread?
my thread.
Okay.
So just give me one more second. I'm almost there. There we go.
So we don't require that you order a foot for the Tecoma series. Actually, we don't require you order a foot for any of our templates, but we do ask that you know either what your shank size is that you need, or you can put your make and model of machine down, and we'll go ahead and confirm the shank size for you. But we are asking that you go ahead and kind of choose a shank size, or you can go ahead and make a note and say, I think I have a low shank, but double check my machine is this. And so sometimes that's the easiest way to do it if you're not totally sure. And then we can follow up with you if there's any discrepancy. You're welcome to post in the comments. Oh, the machine's talking to her.
Yeah.
You're welcome to post in the comments if you're not sure what shank size you have. We can definitely help you with that. So someone asked if there was a supply list for each block, and I can take them over to the book and just show them some of the information that we have in the book.
The book's right here, Stace.
Okay, yeah, I'll walk over and do that on the other camera while you're kind of sorting through the issues with that machine there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have here is we're doing block 3 today, which you can see the stitch design is what she's working on, and someone mentioned doing it in 2 different colors, and Leonie definitely drew it out in 2 different colors, which is nice. So as we come over to the beginning, it does show how you can do this design with either the 18-inch or the 12-inch rulers. And some of the required tools are listed here, which include, of course, the Tecoma. She recommended the 24-point Ultimate Crosshair Ruler, which we do have, and I can post a link to that. Or you can use a 6-point or an 8-point crosshair ruler. So you can use any of those. The Spinifex number 4 is a template that is also required, and then the Circles on Quilt set 1 or set 4. So those are actually in a set. We created a 5-piece set for the Tecoma, which you'll see on that page, and it includes basically the Circles on Quilts set 1, the Spinifex number 4, and we didn't do a crosshair square because a lot of people already have them. But then you have the choice between getting the Tecoma 18-inch or the Tecoma 12-inch as your options. So, and then here's some of the optional tools as well, which is the mini Spinifex designs that we have listed here. And we recommend staple tape, but the templates do come with them as well. So, and then as you dive into every block, and you start creating the block, it will tell you, what tools are used in the block and how to mark the block ahead of time. And so you'll just kind of walk through those steps. So today we're doing block 3, and it indicates, here's something really neat too, that this is block 2. This is what we did last week, but look if you decided to do an entire quilt with just block 2. How cool that would look.
I did think she did that for the first 2 or 3 blocks, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh, look at this. So this is, what if you quilted an entire quilt with just the design that we're working on right now? Look how incredible that looks. Oh, I love that. That's just stunning. I'll try to get that closer to the camera for everybody. But that's just a repeat, just doing that one block that many times. That's an incredible looking quilt. So this is block 3. This is what we're doing today as we go through the instructions together. We're walking through it. It says to mark 24 reference lines using your crosshair ruler and using a 15.5-inch by 15.5-inch square. So this is if you were using the 18-inch Tecoma rulers, but we're using the 12-inch Tecoma rulers, so we're using a smaller square. And it's coming out great, so it works. And then it just kind of walks you through how to go through and create the design. So this is the different quilt options that you can do with that. I want to also take a note here that on this one, the spirals are all kind of going the same direction, and she's laid it out that way. But look at this one. The spirals are actually going opposite directions.
Well, if you look at the 2 blocks that I did last week, they're going different directions.
Yeah. And it actually looks really cool the way that she's laid it out, because it really talks a lot about just quilt layout in general and how different you can make a quilt look by laying it out differently, if you have repeat blocks that way. So you're sewing. Let me take them back over to you. All right.
Just had to have a moment.
Here we go.
The sewing machine wanted a coffee break. And I have been sewing a lot in the last few days, so.
So someone asked if these templates are a 1/4 inch thick, and the answer is yes, you can get them in a 1/4 inch thick. But we do actually sell them in 3 different thicknesses, one of which is a 1/4 inch. The other 2 are a little bit thinner to use on machines that need a little bit thinner templates. So we offer a low shank, a high shank, and then a long arm, which is the 1/4 inch. Oops, sorry. How do you like doing ruler work on your M7, Mendy?
Oh, I love my M7.
The name of the book is the Ranges book.
Okay, next one is right there. And when I'm making the circles, I'm trying to just go and touch the stitch line. And I don't want to repeat my stitches and make it a real heavy line. So I don't think I said that before, but trying and doing are not necessarily the same. All right, so now we're right here.
Oh, what did you do now?
No, you know, you punched a button that said we had cleaned this the other day when we hadn't.
Oh.
And could be it's getting cranky because it hasn't been cleaned.
I did hear that they thought of everything in that M7, including a way to make sure you clean it.
They did. But not if you're Stacy. You just punch a button and say you did it.
I had to keep sewing, guys. Cleaning is no fun.
Well, it's really no fun when your sewing machine stops.
Let's see here. Someone asked, how do you keep track of which template to use?
On the inside, it's the T1, and on the outside, it's the T2. So when I'm out here, I have to have the T2 to get back. All right. Let's go ahead and put this one here. And let's get it lined up right there. Okay, here we go. There. We're closing in on it, folks. Closing in on it. Okay. This is the next circle that's not done. So here we go. Okay, let's see here. This is the next circle that's not done. And that reference line right there.
So this is a 14 by 15 square that she'll cut down to a 12 and a half by 12 and a half inch block. And she is using the Tecoma 12-inch templates.
It looks like I just have one more to go to have all the circles done. Is that right? No, two more. Okay, so we're almost done, folks. This is one of those where if it'd been re-record or pre-recorded, we would have just fast forward.
So two different templates is because we need to have an offset and we're pivoting on a pin. So there's a single pinhole on that template. Maybe you can show them that real quick.
Right here where all these little crosshairs come together, there's a tiny little hole, and I'm putting that on
And
the
maybe
thumbtack.
lay the other template over that. They can really see the offset. So
Okay.
the reason why we need to do that is because we actually want to make it look like a clamshell. So you need the offset to do it. Otherwise, you would be
Can you see that?
kind of building big bumps on top of big bumps. Yeah, that looks perfect. Thanks for showing that.
Okay, so this should be the last one, and I'm trying to see my reference line for this. These chalk marks got real light. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm just going to go back to the center, and then we'll go ahead and cut our threads. All right, so that is
Wow.
block 3 quilted. Now, what I've done is I did block 3 ahead of time in the yellow. So let me show you what that is going to look like here.
And then show them how you're going to do the cutaway plan on this, because again, I think there's as much confusion to cutaway as there is to creating the design.
Okay, so block 3. So here is this. I'm sorry about my thread started shredding a little bit. It probably means I need a new needle. but I didn't want to stop right then.
Move out of the way.
So what you're going to do is, well, let me get the one that I finished.
Okay.
Here we go. So this is the same block, only cut out. Okay, and you notice I did go the other direction than she had on here. Right hand, left hand again. But it doesn't diminish the look. So when you come here, if you keep that in mind, when you come here, you're looking for that spiral, okay? So I can see it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right into there. So I'm going to take my chalk, where is it? And this ended up with, I think it's 12, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 spirals. So you're just going to go up here and find the start of each spiral, okay? So that started there. This starts here. This starts here. This one starts here. This one starts up here.
And again, show us the spiral again, so it's really clear to everybody.
Okay.
What do you consider a spiral?
So I'll just draw the chalk mark.
Yeah, do that.
It's hard to, chalk doesn't always come out, but.
Okay, I see that.
Right
Oh,
there.
yeah, keep going. That's perfect. You can see that really good on the screen too. Okay, it's beginning to make sense. So you do have a lot of really tiny cutaways on this one.
Yes, you do.
So what are you using for your tiny cutaways on this one?
A lot of wine.
I don't think that would help.
No,
Let's be honest.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't. It doesn't help at all.
I'm thinking like tweezers, really baby scissors.
No, little scissors and a lot of patience.
Okay, I think we got it.
Well, Lauren marked it. I might as well mark it on the way.
You're cut off.
Just because you're done
No more
doesn't mean that this is done.
So someone says, I see she has the book with the Tecoma templates. Are the books for sale? And the answer is yes. The book is sold separately, or you can buy it in that 5-piece set. I had a lot of people that were commenting that they already had the Circles on the Quilt set 1 or a part of that set and templates. So if you are just looking for the Tecoma templates and the book, it's actually pretty reasonably priced. The Tecoma book sells individually for $25, and then you can get either the 2-piece 18-inch set at a cost of $30, or you can get the 2-piece 12-inch set at a cost of $24. So the 2 templates themselves are pretty reasonably priced, and then you can just add the book to it, which you can buy separately. So
Okay.
that's how that would work.
So now we're going to go on to our second block.
Oh, you know what? Someone asked to see the back.
Oh, to see the back.
Yeah, they want to see the back. Everybody wants to see the back.
Okay, sure. Well, let's recognize that my machine had a few issues right here, but there's the back.
Hey, that's like the 10-foot rule. I don't see the issues.
Oh, good.
Awesome. And look, you use that blue wave fabric, the navy wave.
Yeah, the navy wave is the back of the quilt. But I didn't want the wave to compete with the popping colors.
Excellent.
All right. So what I'm going to do on this one is I am going to cut this down because I think that's going to help us with the templates. So let's go ahead, and this is 14 by 15, right?
Yep.
So let's find the 15. Yeah, right there. I'm just going to cut that down to 14 by 14. And I think that's going to help.
Someone asked earlier, why are we selling fabric that's not perfectly square? Why are we selling a 14 by 15?
Well, why don't you take that one, Stacy?
I don't have an answer for that, ladies.
Because
besides,
we haven't paid the money to get a new die done.
we just need to get a new die. But there's a lot of debate on if we get a new die, what the size of the die would be, because we do have some educators that like to do bigger projects, and so
Because it's not just for this project.
yeah, I mean quilt squares are quilt squares, but sometimes it's nice to have like I don't know, maybe something that's like the size of a fat quarter, and so which is a little bit more normal maybe for pre-cuts. But we are currently only have it in this size. So the rhyme is that 14 inches obviously goes in really nicely to a bolt of fabric. So it's divisible by 3. The 15 was just an arbitrary number. It was close to square.
We actually had a project that it was cut for.
Yeah, I think that was the other piece, is that originally we did have a project that we did these size for, and the 14 by 15 size was kind of part of that initially. Someone asked if you wouldn't mind showing a little bit of cutting.
I will. I want to get to the sewing part of this because this is going to be so much faster than the last one. And then we can get to some of the cutting. Because it's a whole different setup of tools that we use here for that. Okay, so once again, we're making 24 reference lines. So we're going to be turning this 4 times. I wish they made a Friction pin that was white so that it wouldn't, the chalk wouldn't come off, but I haven't found one that works yet. Fabric. If any of you know of something, please share. Okay, last one. Make sure I'm in the center there. And didn't do that one. All right, so there we are. So now block 4, let's get to that, is this one. And basically, we're going to be using T1, and that's the only template that we're going to do all the way around. And then we're just cutting in between each one of those. So let's go ahead and take this and get this one done real quick.
Underway. So you just use the 6-point crosshair ruler again, correct?
That's the only one we're using.
And then the Choco pen to mark the fabric.
Correct. And I'm putting my pin in the center on the front. I find it very difficult to find the center from the back. Okay. All the way through the fabric. Turn it over. There we go. And we're going to take it and get it this way. Okay. And see how I've smudged my lines already, but fortunately we're not going to be going over and over and over these, so we should be fine. All right. And we're going to do it the right way, the way that we can read it. And we're going to make our circle. go ahead and come here, put our foot down, needle down, needle up, put it up, bring up our bobbin thread, put down. Okay, so let's go ahead. All right, there we go. So now we're getting that on there. And get my instructions really quick here. Let's put our T2 up. Sorry guys, I hit the camera. Stop it. All right, so here we go. We're just going to be going around here. And then this is the part where we're going to have to travel. We're just going to move that down. So we're going to come down here. And then we're going to come over here. All right. And we're going to take that off because I've got my threads right there that I really don't want to sew in. So let's get this and get that one out of there. Okay. And let's put it back on there now. All right. And now we're just going to go down to this one. So we're just okay. Now we're going to come down here. All right. Come down here. Come down there. Come down to, see, we're just there. So now we're going to come here. All right. Now we're coming here. And now we're going to get that. here.
So this one you're using the same ruler the whole time.
Yes, we are. This one will go much faster.
Okay, so there's been a question on how you enter to win the template fuse. And all you need to do is like, comment, and share on this video feed. So if you're here right now, like, comment, and share to enter to win the template fuse. We'll be giving away, announcing the winner next week. And we just announced the winner for the 6-point crosshair square. We are here shortly. So you'll want to go to the video from last week. All of these videos will be available on our Facebook page indefinitely. So you'll be able to go in and keep watching these videos on our Facebook feed. You can just go to our videos section on our Facebook page to find all of our previous lives and be able to find this one.
And then are these also going on our university?
Eventually, these will all be on the Ranges, but on the university as well. So you'll be able to find them all there, kind of in a one central location.
Let's get that going here, this way. Easier to see, I think. Oops.
You can like, comment, or share to win. You don't have to do it all if you don't want to.
Where are you going?
I've got my backup partner that's going to be managing the rest because I have to run a quick errand.
last one, and then we'll do some cutting.
You actually have a question. Someone asked, why are you not cutting the sewing threads?
Because I'm going to bury them so that I don't have loose threads. So we always bring up our bobbin thread and our start thread, and then we bury it at the end. Oh, looks like I might have had one more. Let's see here. Let's get this. Let's try this again. Okay. So let's see. It was right there now. Let's go here. Yeah, I have one last one. Sorry, I thought I was done. That one in here. Okay, now we're done. All right, let's bring this up, foot up, and we're going to cut these. And now let's go over to the cutting station. And I'm going to show you the one that I did previously that's already all cut out. And I'm going to show you how we do some cutout on this one. So here we are with what we just did. And I'll show you the back here too. I do love this little ring around here, the closeness of it. So now let me show you this one. So this is the one that I did on my fabric ahead of time, my practice one, if you will. So we're just going to cut in between every other one of these. So let's show you how we do that. We have many tools of the trade here, folks. These are all the implements, oh, not that one. These are all the implements that I like to use while we're going through this process. So what we would do, let me get some light on the subject here. There we go. Is because we haven't touched an iron to this yet. So we still have separation of these two right here, okay? So I'm going to take these scissors, and it's really important, and I think I can show you maybe, well, I'll just show you right here. We want to keep a consistent distance away from the stitching. And it's not too bad if you are not cutting away the one that is right next to you, because there's fabric there. But in some of her designs, she's going to have you cut out multiples right next to each other. And so you do want to leave fabric where the stitching is, because you want to show that separation. And if you get too close, you're going to have the thread pull out from underneath or have the fabric pull out from underneath the thread. And that's not a good look. All right, so I'm trying to keep about, oh, I would say 1/8 of an inch away from the stitching. And I try to be consistent. And, you know, depending on if you're right-handed, left-handed, there's going to be directions that you're comfortable with and ones that you're not. But for the purposes of what we're doing here, let's go ahead. I kind of like to take it one hump at a time, if you will. So let's just go here. Just take it very slowly. Because if you cut away too deeply, you can't fix that. So if you're going to err on the side of cutting, I would have cut away not enough and then have to go back and fix that. Because if you cut away too much, Okay, there's no fixing that. All right, so now we're going to come over here, and usually on these little ones right here, I try to even out the cuts so you don't have any obvious dips. I like to cut, it turns out, right to left. I'm not sure why, but I like that better. But you can see that it is very gratifying as you're doing it, and it's also very glaring if you haven't been smooth with your scissors. You know, you'll get the little jerks and things and little stuff. So you're just going to constantly kind of be just taking care of anything that you see that you don't like, just getting it kind of primped up, if you will. I don't like, I think it can be a little bit tighter here. I like these scissors for that because they're a little bit longer. And I can get a little bit more smooth cutting stroke, I guess, with them. Are any questions, Liz?
Can you, someone asked if you can move your example up about 3 inches.
Oh, there you go. Is that better? All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut into here.
Someone also asked if the Tecoma Echo template is used in the ranges.
You know, I assume that it is. I haven't got that far because I'm literally taking one block at a time, and it has not happened yet. But I'm sure that since the Echo is there, it will be used. Okay, and here's where it gets, you know, as you get down into the smaller areas, you're just going to take it very slowly. Like I said, you're going to want to err on the side of not cutting quite enough away the first time. Going back and fixing that if you have to. Ideally, you do it perfect the first time. That doesn't happen very often for me.
Someone asked what kind of scissors do you use in the tiny areas?
I'm using the same ones that I'm using here. So these are just your little snippets. They're real sharp. I will say that. You don't want dull scissors for this work. I'll just go through like that and kind of clean it up. And we're going to get into the little bitty one. Okay. Here's where sometimes what I do is I do use my picker, because you want to be very careful to make sure you're only picking up the top fabric, and I did, but that gives me kind of a starting cutting point.
Okay, we got a few questions here.
Okay.
What kind of scissors do you use in the tiny areas?
Okay.
What kind of, if you wash the quilt block, does the fabric ever pull away from where you stitched them?
Good questions. First of all, like I said before, I use several versions of tiny. Okay, these are longer, skinnier, and I find can get, and because they're longer, I can get smoother around. In little tight places that I just want to do a little quick snip, I do the short ones like this. I don't know what the special name of these is, but this is the size of scissor. In the bigger cuts, I like this one. And once again, don't know what that's called, but that's the one that I like for the bigger cuts. Now, as far as washing the quilt later, that's why we put the fusible on here. Because once we get all this cutting done, that's when we're going to do the final press. And that's why we're recommending the Sew Steady Fusible, because we have promoted instructors out there that have basically tried every brand available of fusible, and they have highly recommended the version that we're branding here. And that way you're not going to get any of the shredding, not shredding, but fraying and pulling apart, because that fusible has held up to the test of time and kept everything together. So you can see it's just tiny little work here, guys.
Okay, another question is what kind of thread do you use?
Basically, whatever thread you want to quilt with. I've used all cotton. Right now I'm using Glide, Orofill. I literally, Leonie would say you can use any thread that you want. So you just have to make sure that your machine is happy. One of the problems I had today that you saw was my thread started kind of fraying, and that's because I have been sewing nonstop and I didn't put a new needle in, and so that was shame on me. But I would always do a test block and make sure that your machine is happy before you commit to that, because sometimes you've got to match your needle to your thread, and get the tension right potentially on your machine. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. But there's our first cut.
Okay, another question is, are you using 12 or 18-inch templates?
This is 12-inch. This one is 18-inch. So I'm actually using both.
Okay, another question is this method good for a bed quilt that would be washed regularly?
I would say this is a lot of work. And yes, it can be washed, but I guess personally, I wouldn't suggest that, because you are having, this is like reverse applique, so you have raw edge that's there, and the fusible will hold it together. But I guess I don't want to tell you yes and have it go wrong on you. So I would err on the side of caution and tell you no, probably not. Not on a regular basis. I wouldn't be worried about laundering it, occasionally, but a bedspread does tend to need to be washed on a frequent type of basis. All right. Well, I guess you guys have seen this. Any other questions? Well, we'll be back here next week, and we're going to be doing blocks number, 5 and 6. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.